The Ukrainian president has just reacted. We are getting in word that President Zelensky of Ukraine has reacted to the assassination attempt on presidential candidate Donald Trump. Zelensky has said that this is completely unacceptable. President Zelensky of Ukraine was in the United States of America just a couple of days earlier for that NATO summit and the 75th anniversary of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the summit that took place in Washington, D.C., where President Biden ended up calling President Zelensky President Putin. But that's one part of the story. Zelensky says there is no place for violence in the United States of America in the presidential battle. We'll also talk about that in greater detail. But I want to bring in Lenka White into this conversation on Ukraine and Zelensky. While Joe Biden, Lenka White, wants the support to continue, and many have argued that this is actually not Zelensky's fight against Putin, but Biden's fight against Putin in case Trump comes to power. He's, of course, gone on record to say that even before the inauguration takes place in January, he would have solved the problem. Has he spelled out how he intends to solve the problem? And if Donald Trump were to return to White House as the 47th president of the United States of America, is that bad news for President Zelensky?
You're right. President Trump has mentioned that he would settle the conflict in Ukraine in 24 hours. Then from 24 hours, he moved to saying that he will settle it before coming into the White House. It's very hard to imagine how he would do it. The conflict has been going for over 2 years. But what he has been laying out is that he is good friends with President Putin and President Zelensky, and that both of them respect him. That's his main sales page. I think there were also reports saying that some of his campaign team are trying to lay out some outlines for how the peace deal could look like. But from himself, I have not heard anything concrete. And that's what many people are also complaining about, that they would like to hear something, how he's actually going to do that. But on the other hand, he is a sort of strong advocate of not sending more money to Ukraine. And this, of course, would at least lower down the endless supplies of, high-end weapons they are getting right now. And even though Ukraine doesn't know how to deal with the weapons and they are still losing, the conflict would at least calm down. It would at least go down, because Ukraine would not be able to continue fighting without all these supplies, which is coming mainly from the United States. Also, President Trump wants to, sort of piece down NATO, which is now voicing out strongly against Ukraine. He's saying every state should pay equal amount and that the United States is not going to sponsor this organization. So his overarching idea of the world would sort of put the cap on the Ukrainian conflict, in my opinion. I really hope he would do it, because President Biden, even though he doesn't remember who he's talking to, he surely remembers that he has to sign another check for President Zelensky. And of course, President Zelensky is just using this atmosphere, and he's coming here to the United States to, pitch his latest idea for how much he needs for next 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And you probably heard that President Trump called him the greatest salesman from all the politicians.
Okay, stay with me, Lenka and Shashank. President Biden has spoken to Donald Trump, and perhaps as far as Joe Biden is concerned, the effort would be to ensure that the damage or the fallout can be contained as quickly and effectively as possible. So the Federal Bureau of Investigation has officially started investigations into this assassination attempt. The shooter has been neutralized, the weapon has been recovered, but we still do not know, because neither the Pennsylvania State Police nor the Federal Bureau of Investigation gave out any details whether this was a lone wolf attack or whether the shooter had outside support or was someone guiding the shooter, because prima facie, the preliminary information seems to indicate that the shooter did not have a direct line of sight or a clear line of sight about the president. He fired, and he repeatedly fired, injuring the presidential candidate and killing one spectator and grievously injuring two others. What are reactions that have come in so far, including from President Joe Biden? Let's listen in.
This evening we had what we're calling an assassination attempt against our former president, Donald Trump. It's still an active crime scene. As I mentioned, we have a number of agents on scene. We also are working closely with other federal agencies, our state partners, and our local police partners as well. Again, at this time, we are not prepared to identify who the shooter is. We are close to that identification, and as soon as we are 100% confident in who that individual is, we will share it with the press.
The Trump rally was a rally that he should have been able to be conducted peacefully without any problem. But the idea that there's political violence or violence in America like this is just unheard of. It's just not appropriate. Everybody must condemn it. Everybody. I'll keep you informed, and if I'm able to speak to Donald, I'll let you know that as well.